It turns out the decision to leave Dreamboat in storage was the right decision. We pay $75 a month to store him here safely in the Texas area. And what I didn't know last week, I now know this week, is that this location is very remote and would have taken a lot of fuel and had been really rough on him physically to get him out here to work on. Additionally, this gate is different than our last gate. It is still 200 to 300 trucks, but we have to physically open the gate 200 to 300 times a day. And that is the difference. So it feels different, and the time commitment and walking and stuff is different. When we were talking about putting Dreamboat in storage, that was a really hard conversation. We didn't really film any of it.
Yeah,
It was, I wasn't ready.
Well, we were talking about the idea of selling him, so is that maybe $8,000 or $10,000 versus the cost to store him,
which is $75 a month.
Yeah, you know, maybe we do some more work on him and he's worth a little more when we're done, maybe. But we have to come to terms with it because right now we're work camping. Now, if we want to sell the Airstream,
this Airstream behind us,
yep,
we would actually be able to pay down our debt even faster, but we wouldn't be able to work camp because we'd basically be selling our house. Each gate that we've had has been a unique experience, and I just sort of feel like I'm being paid to go boondocking. And sure, that may not be the case for every single gate, but I'm excited to explore and see what this gate has to offer. Well, that came out of nowhere. Ow.
All right, we've arrived at a new gate location and I'll show you around a little bit later. For right now, I've got to get our utilities straight. So what I've got to do is test our water. Every water source will be different, so let's get to it. We filled the trailer's water tank before we got here, so we've got a couple days that water can sit with the bleach in it in the big tank. And you know, 48 hours is more than enough. 24 would be adequate, so no worries there. I think after we treat that water, it should be good to go. Just looking over these test results, it looks like everything's kind of what I would expect for the groundwater here is out of limestone aquifers. So total carbonate bicarbonate level is like to the max. Alkalinity is near to the max. Hardness is also pretty high. And all that's pretty typical of this groundwater has been pulled through limestone aquifers and has picked up kind of those dissolved minerals. Now, for us, the biggest problem is that we don't have essentially a water softener on board with the Airstream here. And what happens is we get chalky residue like in the electric kettle. For us drinking this water here, none of that really causes us any trouble. Really, it is just a matter of having to descale the kettle periodically. And as far as the chlorine levels in the water, because what we do is bleach it and then we charcoal filter it initially, then run it through a much more complicated filter system, it will take those chlorine levels way down, so you won't taste the chlorine in the water. You can see it on the test here when you test the unfiltered water straight out of the tank.
Well, it definitely feels super weird at our new spot without having Dreamboat here for me to sit in or work on or source parts for. And I don't think Andrew is in any way wrong. I think the responsible thing to do is for us to 100% just focus and buckle down and eliminate that student loan financial burden and move on with our lives. But it definitely feels really, I don't know. We'll still be doing the maintenance and repair videos and stuff on this rig. Maybe we'll have a week off here and there to go exploring. I'm going to start by taking the parts that I've already invested for Dreamboat for myself, like some solar panels and that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for all of that.
Okay, I said descaling the kettle may be the only problem that we have related to water that we have building up on things. As I think about it, Shauna mentioned low water pressure in the shower, and I actually haven't taken the water heater apart recently to see if we've got any buildup in there. I have to get in there, I think, too, just to make sure. We expect to be here a couple weeks, and it'd be nice to get our setup kind of optimized for a couple things. As I look around, we kind of parked it real quick to try to get a rough setup, but ultimately we have a waste tank that we dump to over here, and it's not really low enough. And there's a couple things sound on the provided generator can be loud. So if you can do a good job of sighting yourself, you can kind of cut down on the noise and give yourself good sight lines up and down the road. So we may move the trailer this way so that with our front curved windows, we can see sort of left and right out both windows up and down the road. It may give us a better noise profile and may give us a place to put the waste tank, because I've noticed that there's like a slight ridge kind of here-ish, and then there's a slight depression over here, and it'll get that waste tank just a little bit lower and make it easier to dump the tank. Okay, you want to start your turn from there, I think.
He's to go.
Yeah, he's going. You got one coming over the horizon though, down by the gate. Straighten it out, follow it on a bit.
Oh my gosh. Hi, baby.
With the Airstream rotated back towards the tree, hitched towards the road, and this tank here now, I'm definitely happier. If you've ever been to a campground where the dump access is essentially a foot higher than the ground, the higher we can get the Airstream with respect to the tank, the easier it is. On this side, we've used two 30-amp cords to get farther from the generator. It's basically as long as our water hose can reach, and the maximum gap allows us to park the truck in between. Parking the truck between the generator and the Airstream does lessen the noise noticeably. And then over here on the far side of the Airstream, it's even quieter.